me press. You can't get me.
What's up, Dustin? How are you?
Good. What's happening, brother?
Oh, man. Very lovely shirt, as usual.
Come on, and it's always crispy.
So what exactly brings you to Houston? Is there anyone on the card that you have a special interest in?
Yeah, you know, I grew up training with Matt Schnell. He's a North Louisiana guy. Unfortunately, he's not fighting tonight, but Renato Moicano's a home team and American top team with us, as well as Andre Arlovsky. You know, so coming to support the guys, and also I live a few hours away in Louisiana in Lafayette, so anytime big fights are here in Houston, I try to make it.
Right, obviously the big story with you is there's this Nate Diaz fight that keeps getting talked about, but then as soon as it seems like there's any traction, something happens, and then suddenly it's not happening at all. From your perspective, what exactly is happening with that fight? How realistic is it, and what's going on?
I think there's a good chance it's going to happen. I think summer's probably a good target, you know, if I would put one on a calendar, but I'm not sure. But I have a good feeling it's going to happen. I'm not sure if I'm going to stay at 170 pounds, but this fight makes sense. He's a guy. I just want to be in fights that mean something to me. Nate's a guy I grew up watching fight. I respect him and his brother. I think that stylistically it's going to be fun for the fans. This is a fight of the year type of fight, and those are the kind of fights I want to be part of.
He did say earlier in an interview that the UFC was still playing around and he can't seem to get the fight signed, but he said he wants it to be his retirement fight. I'm not sure if you believe that, or what are your thoughts on that?
I don't believe that. Nate, he's got that dog in him. He's going to fight forever, you know. We'll see what happens, but I believe he has a lot of fight left in him, you know, but no telling what his plans are and you know, his exit game or whatever's going on. But I want the fight, and I think he wants it as well.
Do you think that was maybe just him playing some negotiation games there? Just last fight in his deal and stuff like that?
I have no clue, you know. On my side, let's go. You know, on his side in the UFC, they got to get it figured out. But I'm ready to rock.
Would you like it to be 5 rounds, I assume?
I want it to be 10 rounds.
Cool. Obviously, you have another teammate coming up with Jorge Masvidal fighting Colby Covington. That's a fight that's long been discussed, and everyone knows about your personal feelings towards Colby and now Jorge's. How do you see that fight going, and how important is it, do you think, for Jorge to beat him to kind of show Colby that you can't say the stuff he's been saying and get away with it?
George is a guy who, you know, I've been around for the last 11 years. He's helped me out, you know, with knowledge and insight to the game. He's a pioneer of the sport. He was doing it way before it was cool. So guys like that, even if I wasn't friends with him, I respect guys like that. You know, Nate's one of those guys. I'm rooting for George, obviously. He's a teammate, a friend. He was part of me bumping up to lightweight when I was a 45er in the gym, sitting back one day after training. He was telling me, dude, just do it. You're not, you know, getting overwhelmed by the strength of me. That's when he was still at 55. George is just a good dude, man. And I want to see him succeed. I know he's working hard. I know Bo Nichols down there at American Top Team, and we have a lot of good wrestlers there, so he's preparing his wrestling game. And his fight IQ and skill is going to speak for itself, I believe, in this fight, but it is fighting. You know, I'm rooting for George.
Did you ever see those two train together or spar, and do you have any idea of how it might go?
I mean, I'm not the guy to lift the curtain and tell you guys what happens in the gym, but, I mean, it's going to be on display for the world to see, 5 rounds. Yeah, I was in the gym for years with these guys. You know, I've seen a lot of training sessions. I've been in a lot of training sessions. But training and fighting is 2 different things.
Is that a fight you want with Colby? I know there's all this back and forth with you guys, and then he put out that clip that one time and all that sort of stuff. But after this fight, you said you're not sure if you want to stay at welterweight. But if they offered you that fight, would you take it?
No. I'll never fight Colby in an octagon where there's finances on the line. If I fight Colby, we're both going to jail. I'm going to jail. I'm not going to fight him in an octagon. He's not making money off of my career and what I've done. This is something different, you know. You will never see me fight Colby Covington in the UFC.
It's funny you say that, right? Because some people would say that the Conor fight would have been in a similar situation, but you did fight him in the octagon. What is it about Colby that's different, that stands out?
Me and Conor have history, you know, fighting him at 45, then bumping up, fighting him 7 years later, beating him. And even that fight, like, you know, I'm probably not going to fight Conor again. I don't really want to fight Conor again. For me, that door is closed. The only reason I do it is for money. You know, I beat him 2 times in a row. What can I best my 2 performances? Can I knock him out quicker? You know, can I 10-7 him? What can I do? You know, I've done it. If I do it again, it's just for money, right? So that's a completely different thing.
Thank you, Dustin.
Hi, Dustin, over here. Having fought both Charles Oliveira and Justin Gaethje, who would you favor in that matchup?
Man, that's tough for me to pick, because Gaethje can knock anyone out, and Charles gets hit a lot. You know, he touched the canvas when he fought me. He touched the canvas when he fought Michael Chandler. And Gaethje's a guy that if you're there to be hit, he's going to hurt you and damage you. But also, Charles has shown championship grit. You know, he's picked himself off the canvas and come back and won fights. And he is the champion. I would say Charles has more ways to win. I think Charles can knock Gaethje out. Charles can submit Gaethje. Charles can win by decision. I think Gaethje has to knock him out.
And there's a fan that said that they would get you a Franklin hot dog if you saw them in the crowd. Have you got that Franklin hot dog?
I'm looking for that ballpark Franklin, man. I'm looking for it. I'm a little hungry right now. If I run into this guy, I'm down.
That's right here. One in the front quick. Speaking of Nate specifically, is there a reason you want to fight him simply because you guys were booked before and then the things he said after, or is it kind of a competitive thing that he's a big name, or is it kind of a combination of all of them? It's
a combination of everything, but it's also history. You know, I was living at my mother's house watching this guy fight on The Ultimate Fighter. Those are the kind of fights that mean something to me. And like I said, he's a pioneer of the sport. Him and his brother have been around forever. You know, when his brother was fighting in Pride, I was a fan. This was way before it was even cool, before it was a mainstream sport. Nate's a fighter's fighter, and I love what he brings, the intensity, the fight he brings, and I think with my style, it's going to be an incredible fight.
And I think his phrasing was when he called out Jorge after he beat Anthony Pettis, he goes, there's very few people like me and him that do this right. I assume you would throw yourself into that category too? Just a fighter's fighter, like you said?
I would hope so. You know, I would never label myself that, but those two guys are pioneers, Jorge and Nate. When Nate was in the WC, before WC was even established, you know, it's just, I'm a stats guy, a history guy. I love the sport, and I love that these guys have cut their teeth and paid their dues before money was ever a part of this. So those kind of guys, even though I want to whip his ass, those guys will always have a special place, you know, in fighting, in combat sports with me.
Hey, Dustin, down here. You had mentioned that, of course, you know, you were at the gym with Jorge and Colby for all those years. When they went from being, you know, good friends as they were, and the tension started, what was that like in the gym? Like, was it visible to you? Did you have conversations with Jorge about that? Did you see this all developing kind of in front of you?
Yeah, the whole gym saw it. It was toxic. You know, that's why Kobe's, you know, I'm not going to speak for Dan Lambert, but that's why Kobe's not part of American Top Team, because it was just bad. One apple ruins the bunch. You know, it was just bad energy, and we wanted to keep things positive in the gym, moving forward. Have so many fighters preparing for such big fights all the time at that kind of gym. And yeah, but I was around it from the beginning, you know. Back in 2012 when Kobe was just joining the gym from college wrestling and making his debut, you know, I saw everything unfold.
Were you friends with him? Like, were you and Colby friends at one point?
We were never close. We've trained, you know, a good bit throughout the years, but we were never like close friends. We never did anything outside of the gym.
Would you say he changed, or?
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, being honest, and I don't really care. So I saw a time where he was winning fights in the UFC, and he started getting that shtick to you know, he was winning fights but wasn't getting the attention. Then he kind of started switching, and at the beginning of it, it was kind of funny, kind of cool, but there was a point where he started believing all that craziness and started being that person, and that's when things started changing.
Thanks, man.
Did anyone at the gym try and like kind of talk to him? They're like, dude, what are you doing? Like, why are you going after our teammates, stuff like that? Or did you think everyone just kind of was like just watching and sort of being confused by it, if you know what I mean?
Yeah, people were confused, but people kind of saw the business side of things as well, and the way his trajectory was. You know, now he's fighting for belts, and now people are talking about him when they weren't before. It's just the thing that makes me hate this sport. You know, the fakeness of things like that, and I won't call it clickbait, but living that kind of life. You know, it's just. It's not the same thing that I fell in love when I started fighting 15 years ago. It's a different thing now. You know, guys are making their way through the ranks a different way.
Is that another reason why you're kind of looking for fights that interest you, and you're not interested in the biz shit? Bullshit of it?
You said it. The bitch shit. You said it right.
I meant bullshit.
No, say it right. The bitch shit. Yeah, I'm not interested in it. You know, I want real fights, fun fights, fights that mean something to me.
Okay. No bitch shit.
No bitch shit.
How hard do you think it will be for somebody to humble Colby? Do you think it's even possible?
Bro, I don't know. That's on him, you know. We all take these losses differently. We'll see what happens, you know. But you put yourself in a position when you talk like that, you talk that much, you become, when you do fail, and when you do it long enough and fight the best guys, you will fail. You know, can he dust himself off? Can he pull it back together after talking all that stuff? We'll see. You know, I don't know. I don't really play a whole lot into it because I have my own things going on, and it is what it is. You know, I want George to win. We'll see what happens.
I watched you on Fightsville. That's the first time I saw you, and you're just talking about being in the game for 15 years, and they say time flies. How has this ride been for you, and how quick has that time flew for you?
It's crazy, man. I see like flashback pictures from 10, 12 years ago, and just how much things have changed in my life, business-wise, fighting-wise. Like I was saying, the sport's a different sport. You know, going from fighting in the WC on Versus to being on Fox. You know, I fought on the first Fox card in Anaheim. Then the Reebok deals, and now the Venom deals, and ESPN. It's just the way it's growing is impressive, and I'm thankful for all of it. But it's just every couple years it's a different thing. You know, I just wanted to keep the authenticity that I fell in love with 15 years ago. You know, there was a code, there was something important that I was attached to this sport with. I don't want it for these next group of guys. I don't want it to lose that, because I've learned so much about myself through this whole journey, and I feel like these young kids, you know, it gave me a reason, it gave me a way to provide for my family, but also put myself in rooms and shake hands with businessmen, and it just brought me the opportunities in this sport, and the places I've been have opened my eyes, and I want the same thing for all these young guys. You know, I don't want to see it turn into fucking TikTok, you know what I mean?
Dustin, one more. We see a lot of fighters like Khabib and Anthony Pettis and George that started their own kind of fight promotions. Anthony Pettis even has his own management company to kind of mentor these young fighters. Is that something you would be interested in the future?
I want to be part of this sport forever, you know? I would love to get into that, yeah. I would love to run a promotion. I'm not sure if I can commit to that right now. I have a lot of other things on my plate, and I know how much that takes of you to put these kind of things together. If I had the right team and the right people around me, I think it would be a good move. But I'm happy to see guys like Anthony, another guy who's a legend of the sport, you know, still competing, but pivot and make things happen. George still competing at the highest level, pivoting and making things happen in the sport. I always want to be part of this sport. You know, I'm never gonna, even when I leave the gloves inside the octagon, I'm never gonna be far away.
Here, Dustin, good night. Before you leave, are you down to tell us your predictions for tonight?
Which fight?
At least the main event.
I think Whitaker's an incredible fighter, and I know he wants that belt back. But man, Izzy's just on such a roll and walking around with so much confidence and at the top of his game. I think it's going to be tough to beat that man. You know, I didn't bet tonight, but if I would be betting, I'd probably bet on Israel.
And for the co-main?
Is the co-main the heavyweights? Yeah. That's whoever lands first. I think that's even money right there. Whoever lands first. These are big boys who can punch. I'm excited for that one.
Thank you.
Thank you.